True.
Yeah, so, with that out of the way, though, welcome to your first coaching session. I hope you're excited. Are you
Hello.
excited?
I am. I've been looking forward to this all day.
Hell yeah! So, I just wanted to quickly address a few questions. First of all, I really like how you've defined win condition. One thing I'd kind of comment on that is that I try to when it comes to win conditions, I try to be a little bit more specific about about the conditions that are that we're actually trying to create. So the way I always define it is it's like the accrual of advantage past a tipping point where the opponent has where at that point the opponent effectively has lost the ability to fight back against whatever condition whatever it is we're trying to do to them. So a really good example of this I'd say is Luigi versus Marth on Final Destination when Luigi's above Marth without a jump. Because at this point, the juggle state that Marth has is basically insurmountable for Luigi. He has to have the Marth mess up, or basically a commit to going off stage instead, which is just trading one bad position for for another one. He doesn't have anything that he can do that effectively fights out of that position. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. When I say that, I was kind of shorthanding it a little bit.
Okay.
When I think of win conditions in full, I think of them like what are game states that you can build off of other game states to then push it to that unwinnable situation. So in the Puff Fox example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I want the RTC rest, up tilt rest, whatever I'm looking for into rest, you would want to push Fox into the corner so that you can force him to have more limited options. So then you can start forcing stuff like him, either running through you so that you could bait an up tilt or an up air, him trying to force a jump if it's on FT so you can clip with an up air. And then once he's in those positions that you can push the advantage past that point, you can then start looking for your win move,
Yeah.
which in Puff's case would be rest or edge guarding, depending on percent.
Yeah. On that note, which one do you think is what? So when we're edge guarding Fox, just to kind of close this point, this would be why we you would agree that this is. Would you agree that this is why low? It's generally better to put Fox low for edge guards compared to sending him hot with more power off stage.
Yeah, sending him lower is just better because he has less mix-up potential, and there's less things you have to guess or read on to try to get him dead.
Right. It's just once he's below the stage line without a jump, he basically always has to commit to something, and basically his up B to recover, and that means that there's only one thing you have to beat. So he's effectively helpless unless he tricks you or outmaneuvers you. So yeah, no, perfect. With that in mind, the last one I wanted to quickly ask about is. So I really like your definitions, but I'm curious about the undershoot one because you said that it's meant to catch an aggressive option or set up a state to get an overshoot read. Do you necessarily have to? Is that necessarily true?
It's more so just conditioning to set up what you are looking for. In the Martha in the Falcon example,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Falcons, especially Salt, for example, will do a lot of undershoots versus Falco
Mm-hmm.
initially at the beginning of a set to start catching more laser in stuff, and then she'll start going for the normal stomps at normal range to bait a standing laser or a jump option, or to overshoot it rather than just stomping and undershooting so that she can start baiting into the situation she wants more. But you don't necessarily need to use undershoots that way. Again, like I said, you can catch offensive options, or you can fake force a dash back, because if you keep forcing, if you do it undershoot and they read it with a dash back, you can then corner someone. With Marth, for example, Marth will do an undershoot forward air versus Falco or Fox a lot of times to push Fox deeper into the corner so Marth can get the grabber down tilt at ledge and start pushing for an edge guard.
Mm-hmm. But I would also say we also have characters like Jigglypuff, Sheik, Peach, they're the first three that come to mind for this one, where sometimes it's just more about them establishing a solid position, just kind of holding it.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. Like, I would say that, like, sometimes the position is the goal. And the undershoot is just like the way I always think of an undershoot is just self-defense. It's either self-defense or we're trying to expand i.e. protecting our zone, or we're trying to expand our zone by taking space, by like attacking where somebody is in a way that's like very difficult to punish. But it's all in all, though, I think that this is good because like I think, you know, it's clear you understand like what the different purposes of these things are, which is really the point of the question. So with that, the other thing the last thing I would cover. So puff facing forward 6-1. No, what's on 1 with in the puff example, in the puff number pad?
So assuming she's facing towards 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of characters, not so much like characters like Marth or Fox, but in a lot of her matchups, characters who can't hit like that upwards directing angle, which is most of the cast meaningfully, she likes to float above that diagonal range so that she can force them to try to commit to something before she can punish it.
Mm-hmm.
And so before they like do their option, so she'll sit into that range where they can't hit her, but she has enough drift or enough like just range if they're tall enough. I know you said assuming they're not drifting, but it's more so just the pressure of Puff being in that spot, assuming she's not drifting or anything else. A lot of characters can't hit her there, and so even Fox or Falco, for an example, both have to turn around to get their meaningful big, like anti-air move, unless they're just being landed on top of by Puff, which is not the key thing for Puff unless you're resting.
Right, but right, but I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna hit pause there though, because the whole point of the question though is like where do they hit relative to her body, not like where do they hit not where do they hit like in context of like other matchups. Like we're not asking for that information. The point of the question is more to do with like where her just literally where her hitboxes are most oppressive in relation to like on her like in relation to where she is. So what you're describing is a lot of things that have to do with like contextual information that like from different matchups combined with like her drift, which makes her like a lot faster than other characters in this kind of position. So the reason I'm flagging this is because this is really like what kind of tells us when we have to move preemptively or not. Do you see what I mean? Like it's more about because we don't have anything on the. I'd argue we don't have anything on like the 1, right? Because her back here really covers the 4. So if somebody's engaging us in that space, that's why we have to fall to like align with them. But what we're doing is we're shifting the entire number pad more like to be more aligned with the opponent. That's what's going on. It's not that we have something that just hits in 1, it's that we're moving the whole thing down.
I see what you're saying, and that does make sense. Yeah, I do have trouble separating like in actual game flow with just thinking about things as stationary concepts. I just struggle with like separating them like that. It's just how my brain works. I don't know why.
No, and there's nothing. And to be clear, there's nothing wrong with that. This is why I ask these questions, though, so I can get a sense of like I can get an idea of how you think before we jump into like this very complicated game. So with that out of the way, this is great, and I think we're ready to dive in. So you mentioned that you want to apply and use punish more effectively. So you said you have some examples. Can you set? Are they SLPs?
Yes.
Perfect. Send them my way, and we'll take a look-see. And if you can, like, once we open them up and go to and start looking through them, yeah, I would hope that you can be. I would hope that you can be forthcoming with like, what's going on in your opinion, and like what you're trying to do, because that's really vital for me to help you.
Yeah, I sent them to my other Discord because I can't open Discord on my computer in VC because I don't have enough ports.
Gotcha.
But give me just a moment so I can forward them over.
Sure.
This is a big one. I have a bunch of them saved. I'm gonna grab like one of each.
Okay.
Of varying different like openings per kill because that matters.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just get these onto my screen like real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're sending more my way because I've got one right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's two. Oh, two sending, and then I have three sending.
Perfect. So I'll just wait for that to load, and then we should be. And then yeah. In the meantime, okay, I see two downloading now.
Yeah.
And let me share my screen while we're here.
And I'll be as direct as possible with what my thought process is as the game plays through.
Wonderful. So, okay, let me actually move these to the Slippy folder, and then now that I have all of them, and then we can get cooking. So, let's see here. Refresh.
I like the background on your computer, by the way.
Thank you. It used to be like other stuff, but then I was like, you know what? I'm doing this for work. I should probably like do something a little bit more on topic, I guess. I don't know, but it's yeah. I thank you. I like this one too. What is your? So where is it? There we go. So, wait a minute. What's the? When did you play these games, Russell? Do you recall?
One of them I played 3 days ago. One of them I played 2 days ago, and one of them I played last night.
Okay, so let's see here.
So they're all relatively recent.
And your code is like JL. What's your code? JLYN or?
JLYN number 0, yeah.
Okay, cool. And I'm showing that you're playing Peach in one of these.
Did I click the wrong one?
Like I have you versus.
I might have.
I have you versus Aviond, and I have you versus SLFer, and Slifer, and then yeah, I think that you sent me a Peach one.
Oh, I might have. That happens.
Okay. No worries. Just send me the correct one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
good. I did click the wrong one. That does happen.
Human error. It's all good.
So you have one versus Slifer, and you have one versus
Aviond. Yep. Oh, it's Aviond. Okay. I have no idea how to pronounce anyone's tags.
I have no idea how to pronounce his either. So we can both just. Well, and this one is the one I wanted.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I know what I did. And then now I have it.
Perfect.
Sending.
Excellent.
Hold on. Is that the right one? And this one should have me playing against someone named High29293, I think it is.
Okay, perfect. And excellent.
I just sent.
Wonderful. Downloading now. What's the matchup in this one, if you don't mind me asking?
Two of them are Fox. One of them is Sheik.
Excellent. Wonderful. So these are things I am somewhat familiar with. So let me just make sure it's here. Refresh. Perfect. We are cooking. Let's start. I'm good with starting with Slifer, if you're cool with that too. Yeah. What would you like? Does that make sense to you, or do you want to start with?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which of the three.
Okay. Cool. So we'll start with Slifer. Let's get cooking. So. Let me ask you. So at zero, like early game, I think is sort of like tricky when we're like is sort of tricky for like most characters, and I don't think Puff is like an exception here. She has a lot of powerful stuff that she can get once she gets her first hit. Like you could like look for pound potentially here. You could look for up tilt. You could look for up air now. All in all, though, grab always works as well. Like grab is always good as well. So I guess my main question here is like punish game is partly what moves we choose to look for. What are you looking for right now? Like in terms of like what hits are you trying to get?
Drill, up air, or up tilt, or grab. A lot of it, I'm just fishing with back air right here, just because it's,
So that we both know that should have been up throw, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that was a misinput.
True. Okay. So why drill, if you don't mind me asking? What do you think is on? What are you trying to connect after drill?
Grab or either grab up tilt or rest, depending on where they DI it and how they DI it.
Gotcha. So this happens. Okay. So how often would you say you hit this? Like, how do you normally have problems with this edge guard?
That one right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay. So what do you think? What do you think happened here? Like, what do you like? So you got this. You got like you hit him off stage, and then like so this happens, and then you hit him with the pound here, and I believe we got him out of a shine. So I don't know if he has his double jump. Let's just confirm that. It looks like you hit him out of the shine itself. Yeah. So he double jumps. So what do you think? Like what? Walk me through what you're trying to do here. So what's the plan with like what do you see as being the plan here when you have Fox recovering over here after you've hit him like that?
So right here, I was expecting him because in the past here he had side B just a couple seconds prior, and had been side being there throughout a lot of their games. So I was going for a reverse fair with my invincibility, and then going for the bear afterwards.
Okay, gotcha.
Which was the thought here. Ideally, I should have just placed the back air at the second one.
Okay, so walk me through what you want to do here. So like we're here. So what do you we see what you did. Like this, the problem with this play is that we've grabbed the edge when he's really far away. We've grabbed the edge in a position where he has a lot of recovery options, and we've kind of like by grabbing the edge, we've kind of restricted what Jigglypuff can do. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're saying, so what are you saying we do instead? Like from this point, from when we hit this pound, what are you saying we should do?
Grab ledge, see if he goes, like if he stays above ledge for too long, go back onto stage and start covering the different options, or jump off of ledge quicker and start trying to cover other things instead.
See, I feel like, so I hear what you're saying. I think that we still are going to fundamentally have the same problem though. And I'll tell you why. So the issue that I see right now is how we actually exited this, is how we left the stage to begin with. So you see how you were short hopping here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my concern here is we're allowed, like Jigglypuff is a lot better at moving down. Like I think that she's a lot better at moving down than she is at moving up, because she does usually use like multiple jumps to get like high to like go up, whereas she can just kind of like fast fall to get down. It's a much cleaner action.
Okay, so
yeah.
So start point would be, because of how far Fox is out, you would want to go onto platform first and then start jumping off from there, because you can keep your height while also losing less jumps for having to jump a couple of times first.
I would even say like you can just full hop backwards.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like because if you go if you're aligned with him, like if instead of like being here, you're like up here instead, like or around here, as like instead, like do you like I feel like this is a much more workable edgeguard position, given like where his double jump has taken it, because you're like actually level with him instead of being like below him. So like he's basically somewhere over here, right? So what I'm saying here is like we actually have him in range of our like attacks if he tries to illusion or something. Like we're not actually that far from him, so we can actually just throw it back airs and stuff to cut him off. Whereas if we're down here, we then have to if we're down here, we have to then like go up to like meet this line, which is not what we want to have to do.
I get it.
Huh. So does that make sense, or do I sound crazy? Like, does it make sense? Do I sound crazy? Like,
no, that makes a lot of sense. She has a lot of troubles going upwards quickly unless you're cheating. So
I mean, what like I don't think it's a matter of like, well, what would cheating be like? How I feel like she just has a problem doing that.
The Pichu, man, But no, like he has a lot of trouble. She has a lot of trouble getting vertical distance
Mm-hmm.
because she's floaty and her jumps don't give her height. Like they give her height, but not a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
So getting high before Fox can go high would force him to go lower, which you can cover quicker.
Yeah, a full hop in a line with his double jump, and then like yeah, you can always you can always fall like to fast fall to cover him moving low.
And then if he starts going low quick enough, you can cover that with drill when you're up there if the back air doesn't hit because they go low.
You can just turn around. Remember, when you double, the cool thing about Puff in this kind of context is that, like, if you, like, throw out, like, if he goes low, and you, like, see him going low, and you just kind of, like, cover the space, you just cover the space above him with your back air. Like, this is actually a good spot for that kind of back air that you've been talking about, that you were talking about earlier, because, like, what you're really doing is, like, let's say he goes down here, right? Like, from his position here, he, like, falls this way. I feel like this is a pretty reasonable spot for Fox to fall to with his recovery. Like, maybe he falls here, so that he can, like, up be back on stage like this, or like this. Because, like, those would be his options here. So if he's falling into this location, into this kind of spot, like, all you have to do from your end is you just move above him. You just move a little bit above him. Like, you go to maybe about, like, here. And then you just put out your back, like, you just put out your back air, kind of like making a line with it, like, around here, like here, and just fall. See what I mean? Like, it just cuts him off completely. And if he jumps back or jumps away, you can actually then use her turnaround, like the fact that she can turn around in midair, to, like, fare this way. So then you also have, like, a really good line moving, like attacking him. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so, like, what we're doing here is, like, the whole idea here is we're trying to aim our hitbox wall more effectively at, like, the space he is actually using. That's the entire, that's the entire purpose of, like, her fair uses both feet, so, like, yeah, we'll have that there. But you're basically just making a hitbox wall to, like, cut off where he might go, and if he doesn't go there, then, yeah, you just cover with this. So this is all about the alignment, and you can see how, like, and, like, the big thing here is, what if he recovers high? We just keep going towards him, double jump kick him. Like, it's so much of a cleaner system, and it all begins with, like, just not letting him travel above us. In general, with Jigglypuff, if the opponent is traveling above us, that is a bad sign. Like, or if they're traveling above us, like, a lot, that's usually a bad sign, because that means that we're not, like, we haven't been able to cut them off. It's not the end of the world. There's ways that you can make that work. Like, you'll see Hungrybox or SDJ go out and, like, and kind of, like, control, like, cover that space, and then, like, the Fox will, like, go super high, so they'll, like, start moving back. They might up air them or something, and then continue to, like, combo them or corner carry because they don't have a jump. So, like, yeah, like, that's a key thing. So this was a good this was actually a really good conversion. Like, these up tilts were good. So what do you think? What was the plan after?
I need to see what I did after. Just go a couple of frames and see what I was going for, and I can... Okay, I was going to read the double jump with a move, but Fox double jumps in the air quicker than Puff should, so I should have preemptively done something here.
Is there a reason we're not just, like, back airing him?
That's what I mean. Just preemptively jump and put out the back air, and you can just kill him.
Yeah, like, this is
rather than going for anything crazy.
Yeah, like, I feel like there's like two super good moves here, and, like, one of them's back air, the other one's up air, and I don't know which one is better, but, like, I feel like he's very dead versus either of them. So it's like, it's probably...
You could also, if you turn around and jump forward air, also covers the same thing back air does.
Yeah, so this is just, like, we're trying to do a combo, like, we're trying to do this, like, really complicated read that we don't need to. So, like, I think that, like, the key here is, like, we just want to, like, make sure that we know that in this kind of scenario. So what did we do? So we did up tilt. And then we did up tilt again. And then what we do is, like, what we do, and this is what we're not going to do. So we'll make it a different color. We'll do red. So what we did was, like, run, crouch, react. And like what we're actually going to do instead though, because we're just going to do this with green, so we know that this is not, because like we're not doing that. We're just going to say like, what do you think of the 3 things we've listed? What do you think, which one seems the strongest? Do you think it's the back air? Do you think it's the turnaround like fair? Or do you think it's the up air?
Turnaround fair, because he's still in hit stun. If you miss, you can still clip him while going lower.
Interesting. I'm not sure if I agree with that logic. So like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not sure that like, because like the way I'm viewing it is that we know that this back air is going to connect. We know that the fair is going to connect. Like no matter what, like all of these are true. So are you like, if I don't think we want to approach this like, this is a pretty reasonable link to connect, like a pretty reasonable link to get. And I just feel like if we're hedging for execution based on like, you know, what can go wrong, I feel like we're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. Because like, here, let's consult the calculator actually. So this is INE data. You might have seen this before.
I use this all the time for Sheik Puff.
Hell yeah! So then you will be very familiar with it. So like, if these 2 moves are hit, like this is her fair trajectory versus her back air trajectory. Like they're basically overlapping pretty like perfect, like pretty identically. Yeah, because knockback 10, 100 growth, because I think that's the same as this thing. 10, 100 growth, right? So they have the same knockback, but like to me, the bear is like that makes the bear better here, because the bear's frame data is like it winds up is better. So like, it ends on 30. It hits on 9 through 12 and ends on 30. So we're which means that between each rep, we have roughly 30 frames. If we're hitting, 31, okay. So we end on 30 mandatory frames. So what this means to me is that like there's about 30 frames between each hit on this, because they all come out at the same time. Whereas at this one, there are 35 frames or 34 frames between each hit. So like it's not the biggest difference, but like I do think that is somewhat meaningful, because like if we look at how much stun we're doing, last frame of stun 38, like we have a little bit more wiggle room with the back air to like connect these. Like there's more time we can spend not attacking to get the second back air, I guess is what I'm saying. Whereas with the fair, we have to actually Does that make sense, or do I sound crazy?
No, that makes sense. No, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same mentality I used when I was learning Sheik Puff.
Mm-hmm.
For up air conversions rather than forward air conversions.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you played Sheik, and you were good at Sheik Puff. So yeah, like absolutely. Like what we're doing is we're just capitalizing on our advantage. Jump back, full hop air. Like we're just capitalizing on our advantage state more effectively by like going for something that gives us more, because it's the same power, and if it's just overall more efficient, then like why not, right? Because this is absolutely a kill. What I'm noticing, a common trend I'm noticing from watching these games, is that it looks like you have an expectation about what the opponent's going to do that kind of like that overrides what you are seeing in the what's happening on the screen. In terms of like you have that, like there's something you expect to happen, and you kind of go all in on it, instead of like following the interaction as it's happening. But like when we're looking at it here in like this, in this very calm, composed, not Fox trying to kill us environment, you seem like you pick up on what's going on pretty quickly. So I'm wondering, do you think that there's some amount of pressure you're putting on yourself, or do you think there's some like psychological, like do you think that there's a mental game thing going on here that might be like distracting you from seeing what like you should be, from seeing what's like the task at hand, basically?
Sometimes Fox just scares me, and it's hard to like override like the tilt that can come from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like in the second Fox game I sent you,
mm-hmm.
It's a much different environment.
Let's look at that. Because I think that like I saw like the stats page, and I think he just beats us up for a while, like that at the end of that game. But like this one, like, so talk to me. What's different about this environment?
There's it was this was for when this was the game 5 of a best of 5 I was doing with a friend of mine I go to a local with weekly.
Mm-hmm.
The other person I also go to a local with, but he's not as consistent showing there, so I know him less.
Okay. I like the RTC rest. Even though we missed it, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't fault you for going for it for sure. What... So what is it about, like, so you know this person more, so is that, like, a
And
source
it's
of comfort for
and
you?
it's and it's also like I know she's less technical,
Oh,
and
she,
less
okay.
technical foxes and
Mm-hmm.
less technical foxes overwhelm me less.
Okay. If that's the case, though, like, is it because she's less technical that you feel safe going for this kind of rest?
I did the same kind of rest in other games versus Slifer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of that was me just misspacing myself for the roll read.
Okay.
Because here, because here,
Know what I think it is? You shield on landing. Because I think that this is, like, I think that this takes away your ability to, like, move the way you want to. I think that this
I
shield,
have
I think this might have been, like, a missed waveland. What do you think?
what from her or me, the shield.
Well, yeah, like, so when you said that you've misspaced here, I'm saying that, like, I think this is why, like, you've accidentally shielded instead of, like, doing a movement instead of doing a waveland, I think.
I have also just a problem with holding shield too much with Puff
Okay.
coming over from Peach, and I'm used to my shield being my safe house, not my prison.
Hmm. You know,
So sometimes,
yeah.
so sometimes I do just hold shield more with Puff than I should. Here was supposed to be a waveland, but in general, like you'll see me go for stuff and then hold shield because I'm just used to pressing the shield button with Peach.
Can you flag those moments as they come up? Like, if you see one of those happen in this game, can you tell me about it so we can catch it and, like, kind of like and kind of like and figure out what we should be doing instead? Because I think that, like, I think if we can find help, like,
There was
alternatives.
one of them.
Okay.
Right there is another one.
Okay, perfect. So we land with here. So what should we be doing here instead, do you think?
CCing or wave dashing in. Fox is not at a point where like if he nares in and I'm holding CC at this point, a instant nair off the ground or a semi-instant nair off the ground is gonna be a weak hit and it's not gonna knock me down.
Yeah, but then we're just playing. Now we're just gambling versus Fox, though. Like, we're moving in and just, like, being like, please don't, like, because he could grab, he could drill. Like, it's not like he has to nair. You know what I mean?
But if I'm holding but what I mean is if I'm holding CC here, I can react to Fox running in at this distance. I personally can.
Okay.
So I have the reaction time to be able to play that hold CC and then react to what Fox is going to do outside of that. Because holding shield here and CCing here, you get less mileage off of holding shield because Fox can at that point just run up shine. And by the time you've dropped shield or jumped, you're knocked down because Fox ran up and shined. Rather than if you hold CC and he Fox runs up, you have quicker time to act.
Okay. So what I would, well, so I guess I'm not. So you're saying that if you crouch here, if you crouch here, then you can just deal with, like, on reaction all of what Fox does in your direction, basically.
Yes.
Okay. If that's the case, though, does that? But, like, we're still committing to crouching, though. So, like, there's no reason. Like, we're still playing the ground versus Fox, where he's at, like, a big advantage. So I'm just like, well, actually, let me ask you: do you think that Fox is at advantage when you're on the ground?
If I'm facing away from him, yes. Facing towards him, he has to respect stuff like wave dash pack grab or just getting jumped away from easier. Um a big deal is with me as well as Puff's back air is kind of slow. comparative to most aerials in the game that are off of decently good characters anyways.
So
And I know that. I know that, and I tend to sometimes overemphasize how slow it is compared to how big and good it is.
you know what? Let's
So so
actually
I'll opt
yeah.
so I'll opt to like not use back air in spots, or it would be just objectively good because I realize that it's slow.
So let would I here's would you be up to watch like would you be up to watch just like take some ideas from Moki versus SDJ for a second? Because I think that like they have like I feel like the dynamic here is like a pretty common one throughout this matchup. I think it might be good to get some ideas from like from a higher level Puff, just so we can like see what they're doing as an alternative to like to playing the ground, or maybe they are playing the ground game and there's like something to it. But I think that I think that some ideas might be in order. Is that
I'll watch some I'll watch some STJ.
Hell yeah! So like this is him versus Moki from Genesis, GX2.
I love this set.
Hell yeah! So let's take a look at this. So we have we'll wait till So they're gonna be at 3-3 in a moment, and Moki's gonna come back with advantage, which I think is good because like this is kind of like the vibe, like kind of like the position we're in versus ourselves. So like let's see how SDJ handles this dynamic. So he gets this back air. One thing I want to point out. So what are you noticing about like when he's doing his spacing? What are you noticing about how he's doing it?
He's jumping. He's empty hopping a lot more than I do, and I'm willing to. Not willing to like now, but like just in general. Like he's empty hopping and playing the like faking his aerials a lot more than I do. So he's playing like this weird mix of like aerial ground game without playing either one of them and committing to it.
Right. And like I think that this makes does this make sense like against what Moki's doing? Does this make sense to you? Like does it seem like this is a good way to do it?
Yes.
Okay, what makes you say that? Like what's Moki doing that makes these baits effective?
Well, Moki's playing at a distance where, like that was a missed grab opportunity, but it's giving SDJ more time to react and prepare themselves for seeing and like expecting or reading, depending on what SDJ thinks. I can't read their mind, but it gives them more time to play around the Fox, playing at the distance Moki plays at versus Puff.
Yeah. So I think the big thing here is like, so like if we draw a threat range for like where Fox's like full hop aerial could hit, right? Look at where like SDJ is playing around. So like he's coming here, like we can kind of like see the arc happening in real time. Like Moki travels, like we'll actually grab this image because I think this is useful. So like Moki's full hop aerial travels from the ground to about like, and we'll use we'll use blue for him. So it kind of travels from here and makes like an arc like this, like something like this. It's not exactly like that, but like you know what I mean. So what SDJ is doing that's good in my opinion, in my mind, is he's like kind of respecting that arc by setting up these positions where he's like controlling like if Moki tries to hit him up here, he has to do more than just his full hop, right? He'd have to get to like this point here, or like this point here. Somewhere in this general vicinity. Like he'd have to be somewhere around like this spot, and then he would have to go up again. But you see that like with how SDJ is drifting, he is like SDJ is moving away from him here. So because of that, like by the time Moki comes up with this thing, SDJ's fair is probably going to be over here. It's probably going to be like around here, which we'll use red for a hitbox. Like SGJ's fair is going to be here, and Moki's just going to get bonked into it because he's going to be jumping and attacking from this position, or like maybe down here. But either way, well, he has shut down Fox's full hop in. So then this would be like one benefit I'd say of not doing the aerial right away. So like if we play back the tape for just a moment, so like he goes up. And because he doesn't use his jump right away, like he doesn't attack right away, he's able to like get that like very, very like precise double jump fair spacing, which allows him to like deny Moki's full hop and then capitalize on the landing. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like one thing, so I think like in terms of in terms of our takeaways here, like one big thing I would say is like for air, like in terms of like how we set ourselves up. For setting up evasion. The evasion. Like the evasive positions needed to work around Fox's work around enemy like an enemy's threat. How would you describe it? Like aerial threat range, or the full hop threats? Foregoing.
Fox's threat bubble is what I'd say.
Yeah. Okay, working around a Fox's full hop threat bubble. Foregoing the bear while bear/fair while ascending is sometimes important. It allows Puff to move, to double jump and maneuver above the arc more freely than if she committed with a back air, than if she committed up front with a bear. And has to then double jump with a restricted timing. Restricted timing. See SDJ versus Moki example. Bracket SDJ versus Moki example. Cool. So this I think is good. The other thing I want to call attention to is that like I know that SDJ I think has very good reactions. I don't think that's super controversial, but even with like his good reactions, I still think that he's recognizing that like wave dashing in on Fox is like very, very difficult, and I don't think that he likes the positions that he winds up in. So like one thing he does, and I know we've all kind of like memed about this with Juan, but like the buffer just rolling forward. She's invincible on 2 instead of the normal 4. So like this is very, very difficult to like attack directly. If they're not ready for it or like baiting it, it is often just fine to just forward roll out of danger, at least some of the time. What are your thoughts on that, on like forward roll in that kind of spot?
Yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't have any complaints about it. I know it's a meme, but like, it is still good. Yeah.
Well, think of it this way. So like, if Fox sees you shielding here, right, and he goes for like, say, shuffle drill, right? Or goes for grab. Those actions take about 25-ish, 30-ish frames to complete, right? So if you roll and go and get over here, rolls take 31, he's only +6, you're probably fine. Like with the amount of distance he has to cross just to hit you, you're probably A-okay. So I would say like another like simple adjustment that I would consider like including in your play is just the idea of, like when you're in this kind of position, like buffer, like roll forward, buffer roll forward. Yeah, buffer roll forward to escape shield. Forward to escape shield. You could also like wave dash back. You could also shield grab. You could also like full hop buffer. You could also full hop. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but I think like the key thing here is just like we need like it's not so much that like being in we can't. I don't think we can count on just like never being in shield. I don't think we can count on never being in shield. We will sometimes shield after landing because sometimes it is needed, but. Yeah, it's more about like when it happens, how do we get out of it? Like we want to prevent it and have better alternatives up front, but if it happens, how do we deal with it? And this is one of our ways.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah, let's head back to you because I think we've extracted a good amount of stuff from this, and I want to see more of your play. Because I do want to get to the Avion game, so I'm just going to set this to normal speed now. And just temperature check. Like, is this the type of stuff you were hoping for, or like, does this make sense? Like, okay.
This all makes sense, and like, definitely like the first half is like a huge problem of mine punish wise.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I just kind of go for things that I know I can guarantee. like you heard my thought process on it with like forward air,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's how I do things. So like a lot of it, I'll just like not opt for.
This was almost amazing. So like,
I,
you
I should have double jump drilled.
why are we drilling and not back airing? Just out of curiosity.
Drag them down and then back air
Yeah, but like,
because it's mainly just a comfortability thing. Um, I feel more comfortable going for the drill in this position.
mm-hmm.
I don't really have an explanation for why. I
Okay.
just feel more comfortable going for the drill here in this position. I know back air is technically better. It's just a comfortability thing.
Okay, but you can understand like how you can understand I may have some concerns with that particular like comfort pick, because while I do understand that drill can be good for gimping, like it also has like an immense amount of duration compared to like it has so much duration compared to like your other options here. Like we have to hit a move that has like 49 that has like a 49 frame duration, and I don't think it even has an interruptible frame in the air, which is like that's kind of that to me like let me show you the difference between these two. So like let's say it's like this is where drill puts them, but like at this percent. But like the difference between the two of them is that like Fox, if you hit with one of the opening hits of drill and just that hit, Fox has almost enough time to like get his Firefox online. Actually, I think he does have enough time to get his Firefox online and move with it before we're actionable. But that doesn't happen with back air. So like drill is actually combined with its lower range. Drill requires us to do way more in order to like do it. So I can't tell you what to do, but like, you can see that there's definitely like the advantages to back air here. I think are like really hard to like are really hard for us to like look past. That's my take. Yeah. So like, are you worried about that kind of thing happening?
Yeah.
Got it. So like, the key here is exactly what you said previously, which is like you're below where Fox is. So the full hop is good, but we have to make sure that we're including the double jump if they're slightly above us. Because like that's happened twice now. I think you're also fast falling possibly.
No, that's not a fast fall. Or at least if it was, it wasn't on purpose.
Okay, got it. Yeah, this is definitely.
Yeah, that is fast fall. That's a fast fall.
Okay, cool. So let's actually make a note of that in our takeaways then, because I think that this is like this is an important thing. So bear edge guards gimp setups and reversals. Reversals come spotted. Full hopping to align with Fox's double jump as best as possible to start is ideal. Then using your air mobility air mobility to adjust accordingly.
And that's what I mean by like this is like I have my problem with punish isn't just in edge guarding, but this kind of like tackles my problem with punish, because edge guarding is kind of like the most extreme version of punish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like a lot of what I do is I go for the safe thing rather than going for the good thing.
Yeah. If they transition to low recovery. Yeah, and like the thing I'd actually comment there is like I'm not even sure that like safe is necessarily the best descriptor, because like it's not that it's safe, it's just that you're comfortable with it. But like what it'll take to beat I think what it'll take to beat some of these players and push beyond that is just kind of like we're gonna have to relearn some of these positions with these like stronger options, so that we have like things that do a better job of addressing like the challenge being posed by our opponent. But that's okay. Like that is part of it. Holy shit, you didn't land on the platform. That was crazy. That was really well done.
I clipped Fox's tail there. I have been practicing that for so much.
That's really impressive. I actually really like that. That is like that is a use, because oh my god, that's probably like a big difference maker on Yoshi's story, I bet. Huh. That's cool. I like that. So, one thing I'd comment here, when you're doing your back air spacing. So, like, you see how you're, like, back airing in place here? This is, like, a very minor thing, but, like, you know that, are you aware that characters, like, when you dash jump, like, dash for 1 frame or, like, a couple frames, or even run, and then you, like, jump, your character slides forward during the jump squat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is how we get dash JC grabs. So I would say that this is actually really good with Jigglypuff in these kinds of positions for getting, like, micro spacing on your back air.
Got it. Okay. That's something I didn't even think about.
Yeah, so all it is like, instead of like this is a quick note, but like instead of jump bear, no jump bear here, dash jump bear. Because yeah, like if you have Uncle Punch open, try it for like a second, you'll see the difference. It's actually crazy how much of a... Actually, you know what? Let's get through this match and I'll just show you really for 2 seconds. Because it's like super good. It is how Hungrybox does a lot of his spacing, and it's like I think every single good puff, like every single like super high level puff does it, because it's like really it's required of the character. Wow, that's good. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, that up throw rest setup to before they land on platform only works because Fox's tail dip below the platform.
That is hilarious. I always like enjoy hearing about like Fox dying, so yeah, this very much is my thing. So real quick, so just to give you an idea, so like you see how much of it, like if compared to like in place, yeah, so we'll save here. So this would be like back airing in, like this would be like back airing, like sorry, short hopping. This would be like full hopping like in place. Whereas like if I dash jump, see how like I get like that little bit of movement on it? Like
I do.
So like yeah, it's like allows you to do things like this, which is like quite useful. Because like yeah, you see like, and the other nice thing is like because your character like becomes small when she like does it. A lot of times this is like really useful for like dodging grabs. Like in spots that you maybe not think that like you won't be able to, because like you see how like she's like kind of like a big target like when she's moving away, but like for her jump squat she becomes quite small. It's also,
yeah, she has the small jump in the game.
Yeah, it also is really good with wave dashes, like because you can do it like moving towards them, like with the dash jump part, and then wave dash back like this. So yeah, very good for like counter hit grabs. So I would say like dash jumping into wave dash back and stuff, like very useful. And for like standard spacing, super handy. So I'm gonna make a note of that.
Like you, and like you told me before the coaching session to start working in the empty hop grabs. That's how I won the final game. That's how I won that game, is because I empty hop grabbed.
Yep. Empty hop grab with like Jigglypuff is gnarly because everyone's terrified of her hits. So then yeah, you take good positions. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go tech skill expansion, and yeah, using recommendation to integrate and build skill with dash jump into bears and for baits with wave dashes. Yeah. Use the sliding using, there we go. So then like how did this happen? I blinked and you were dead. Okay. So Aviond or Aviond is like pretty solid. I know that much about them.
Much better. Yeah, just better than me. I like playing them though.
So that makes this
should have been a rest.
I agree, but I think that there's more useful things for us to talk about here than just like we should have rested here. So like let me ask you, let's say we're on last stock and we're like at 100, like, and Sheik is at like 2 stocks, right? So we can't rest. Like if we're at like 100, we can't rest. So like what do you think the best way to get like to punish her here is in those conditions? Like if we can't afford to rest for some reason, what is the best route available to us?
Keep her in the air and don't let her land, because this is stadium, so she doesn't have a lot of options for landing.
Yeah. But how do we do
Like
that?
you want up air into up air and then catch her landings in the back air, and then push her off stage.
Okay. Okay,
Which
that's...
is why I did the up air here for that with that in mind.
Do you think... so I would... The one question I'd have is this better than just take... Like, because you've already done, in my opinion, the hard part of, like, setting up on Sheik. Because you've already gotten your, like... So you get this up air, you get this up tilt, this is amazing. I think that at this point, we're good for a corner carry. Like, to me, what jumps out at me is just back airing her. Like, what I want to do is I want to dash forward a little bit, like, so dash jump forward, and then go backwards into her with full momentum, and then start carrying her away with back air.
Yeah, that is better. Yeah, but there's no way around that. That is just better. Again, that's where I get. That's the problem I have with my plan. Is just like I either overcomplicate it or undercomplicate it.
So what do you think? So what is it about my play that you think it makes it better? Like, what is it? Why do you think it is more effective here?
She would have to wiggle out and get a forward air here in order to even attempt to fight back, or wiggle out like Waveland, which again gets clipped by back air. And there's less variance on whether or not the back air would hit or not, because she's still in tumble, not going to land on platform. So she would have...
Yeah, no,
and so she would still have to SCI down to tech on the platform, which then puts her in the tech situation of another back air incoming, or this percent rest.
Yeah, so like we're hitting her about here roughly, right? So like she's not expected to actually like land on the platform with most DIs. The only ones where she like kind of clips it are like the ones that are really far out. But again, if we're like following her up with like full hop back air, we're probably just going to be able to like, if we're following her up with full hop back air, we probably just land on the platform anyway, don't we? Or close to it. So then like we can just throw it another back air at the edge cancel position and just keep pushing her. So like that I think to me is really the magic of the magic of back air here. Like what we're doing is we're creating a position where like her best option is like basically to like risk taking something like this while we continue to push her. And if she ever dares hold in at any point, like this is now just guaranteed. All of this is now just guaranteed. Like, yeah. So I would say that like one thing that I think is not always obvious with Jigglypuff, and let me know if this is you. I think that a lot of times when we're in this position with like a pop-up with her, we think about like what we are doing from our current position with Jigglypuff, i.e. like where she is on the floor right now. But I think that like the key here is we have to recognize we're actually gonna like dash a little bit and jump to about this spot, and then we're gonna go back into her. Because now
that's me. Yeah, I have a big problem with doing that because again, switching from Peach, you have to think that way with Peach more than you do with Puff, because Peach is way more stationary.
Yeah, because Peach would just like Peach would like jump up with like light hit back air or light hit like float, like she'd probably float here, light hit back air, light hit in the air, carry towards the platform, and then just like she'd be fine operating from this position. But Jigglypuff doesn't work that way because we need to be using her air mobility, because it all comes down to like her insane air physics. So I would say like this is like a really critical thing. So like up tilt, like so we had like up air into up tilt, and then what we do is like instead of staying, dash jump. So like this will be this one because that's purple, and then we'll do the next one in pink. Dash jump, full hop back, bear. Because yeah, now we get to do like corner carry, bear. Because now we get to do corner carry, and that's like super deadly for Sheik because that's where she dies. All right, we are coming up on time. So I just want to flag that. We have about a minute left, though. So I want to just, like... I'm just going to make a note about that last point, and I just want to then, like, kind of, like, ask you... Like, we'll let the match run and see if flag it. If you see anything or I see anything, we'll flag it. But yeah, I just wanted to ask, is there anything that's like, I know we've covered a lot of stuff, but like, is there anything that you can think of that's gnawing at you that you want us to quickly address while we, because I don't mind going over a minute, like a couple of minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes is fine, but yeah. How did we cover what you were hoping for? At least.
Yes. That, a lot of the edge guarding stuff, at first I was like, that might not have been it, but it kind of covered everything, because again, edge guarding is the most aggressive form of punish. So if you're having the same problems, if you're overcomplicating things on punish, you're probably going to overcomplicate things over the stage, and with like non-edge guarding punish.
Right. So to create to create effective bear chains. Use dash jump to move forward, and full hop back. Into full hop back to to achieve desired momentum. Achieve the necessary momentum. Yep. Because yeah, you don't want to you don't want to cop out and go for like, the last thing you want to do with this character is cop out from like the thing that you're supposed to do, and like look for just like weaker options, like fair or something, because like that's a common trap. Like fair is good if you're using the weak hit effectively, or like the weak hit strong hit mix up effectively, because that's really where fair shines, I think. Like that is a real reason to use it over back air. For Nair, it's the auto-cancel frames. Like, the auto-cancel frames are what makes Nair so good. Like, and the solid hitbox in front of you and below you, that's what makes, like, Nair good. But, like, if you're not using, like, a facet of her other footsie moves effectively, yeah, like, the back air's efficiency just really can't be matched, right? So, that's kind of, like, why that's why back air's so ubiquitous with the character. But it doesn't mean that the other moves aren't good or, like, viable. It just means that you gotta, like... I feel like to make them work, we have to like be using something about them that makes them good, not something that's just like a worse back air, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, amazing. So I'm just gonna stop streaming, gonna cut the recording here.